本当の僕を知らない奴に何を言われても構わないけど君を傷つける全ては許さない Just keep comes alive decide
Shalom and good day all, this is Healing29 back again for another anime review as I am covering episodes 7 and 8 of Blue Exorcist, and I just want to get through talking about the first 10 minutes of episode 7, and I'll try to keep it as small as possible for the first 10. With the finish of episode 6, we actually learnt about the history of how Izumo Kamiki ended up being in the position that she's in through her home, through one of the Inari summons, or the summoning of the fox, through the character of Tenko, to which we learn is actually working for the True Cross. Now, with the story continuing from episode 6 into episode 7, we get to see, of course, that story finish off. We begin to move into the next part of the scene, to which we start to catch up with what's happening with Izumo Kamiki, and we see that she's on her way to being experimented on by Dr. Godoyin. And whilst this is occurring, we also catch up with the ex-wives, being Yuki Okamura with his twin brother. And along with that, we also have the people who make up the ex-wives, including Tenko, Shimi, and many others that I've missed, including Koneko. Forgive me for butchering that. And as they start to move into a place of interest, because they have a bit of a location as to where Izumo might be, they end up defeating some guards that are defending like a type of shopping mall, and upon their defeating of a getting entry into the shopping mall, they realize that this complete shopping mall is completely empty, and now they're going to investigate the scene and scenarios. Pardon me there. And whilst this is occurring, we see that Izumo Kamiki is trying to escape from the facility once again, because she has her younger sister in mind of who she wants to save, and even she doesn't want to see her go through what she is going through right now, in regards to what she has seen of her mother. I'll probably come back after the next 10 minutes. So as we start to move into the next 10 minutes of episode 7, in this time period, we have the ex-wives. Whilst they have entered the shopping mall, they encounter ghouls that have been somewhat fused with demons and appear almost like unto a zombie because of Dr. Godoying's inhumane work with them. And whilst this is occurring, Godoying, whilst his surveillance of them, realizes that the son of Satan is in there along with his twin brother. So he realizes that Rin and Yukio Okamura are there, and he begins to set a plan in place to get them caught in a trap, to which the trap is actually released, to which they fall into separate prisons in the trap. So it's like a trapdoor that's opened up underneath them. Whilst this is occurring, we move into the next part of the event, to which we get to see what is still happening with Izumo Kamiki, to which she's also trying to escape what she's actually going through at the time, in the time being, of what Dr. Godoyin is doing. with having Renzo being there to stop her. In the process, she does end up losing her summons called Uki and Miki, or Uki and Mike. And she knows that they're lost because they wanted to try to save her. And from there, she now starts to get returned. I'll now sort of pause for a little bit, or I'll put a bit of a small pause here and move into the last part of the episode. So as we start to reach the end of the episode, we get to see the XYs have actually fallen into sort of like trapped rooms, to which these trapped rooms have monsters which Dr. Godoy has worked on, and we're then left with a cliffhanger as to where the next episode will take us, to which I'll be covering the next episode after this. So as we start to jump into the first 5 minutes of Blue Exorcist Season 3, Episode 8, Dr. Godoy ends up getting a call from the character of Lucifer, to which he's called in to speak to him in regards to a turn of events that are taking place within their vicinity. And with that, they also have, or they already know by the spiritual awareness that Lucifer already knows that the Okamura twins are present in the story and at the facility, to which he does ask a question, or Dr. Godoy asks a question to whether he should kill them because of sort of like the importance of how the Okamura twins are to sort of like how much of a high threat they are. And with this, the character of Lucifer also asks for Renzo Shima's help with helping with Dr. Godoy. We also get to meet or get to see some other characters that will take place. Shima is also asked by the character of Lucifer as to, he also asks Renzo Shima what Rin Okamura's weakness is and his strength, and he pretty much gives the same answer as to what plays into his weakness as well as his strength, to which we then move into the next part of the story, which I'll be covering after the next 5 minutes. So as we move into the next 5 minutes of episode 8, called Determination, we then get the lights switched on into each of the rooms to which the XYs have been separated into. We have Rin, Konekaru, Yukio, Shimi, and many others that are going against zombie-like monsters and are sort of like crossed with ghouls because of Dr. Godoy's work. In this, to which we see that Konekaru realize something that was mentioned to him earlier, and a lot of this does actually reflect back on the manga, to which he was told that when he's in a situation, he does really good at observing observing things around him, and what he's able to do is to sort of like not only help himself but also help others, to which he develops a plan to which the monster he's up against, he realizes it puts a bit of a dent and creates a sort of like a beginning of an entry point of a hole for him to begin to escape the room that he has been placed into, whilst the others themselves in this time period are also still trying to work out what they need to do to escape the situation that they are in with the monsters that they are up against. So as we start to move into the next 5 minutes of this particular episode, we end up having Koneko Miwa escape from his particular room, also with the help of Kuro, who makes their appearance once again in the story, as they also appeared in the shopping mall a little bit earlier as they were having a look around. Whilst this is happening, we move on to the character of Ryuji, to which Ryuji is then thinking back to what his friends have said to him and about him, and using that, we do get some flashbacks with Ryuji, including when he's younger, to when he did things at the True Cross Academy, and basically to where he is now, whilst he's up against one of these monsters to which Dr. Godoin has made. So as we start to approach towards the end of this, we get to see a little bit more time with Ryuji, to which, as he goes up against this monster of sorts, he has to develop a way how to sort of like counterattack and defeat it, to which he realizes the only way to sort of defeat it is to use a type of summon spell of sort, or not a summon spell, but a spell that shows the appearance of what the monster looks like, because of all of the horrible operations that Dr. Godoin has been a part of. With that, he sort of seems to reach it with his character, and not long after that, we end up getting a reunion, or we end up catching up once again with Dr. Godoin, who is with Renzo Shima, to which Renzo Shima announces that one of the people who were in the rooms have actually escaped. Now, I'll do a bit of a pause until after finishing this episode, to which I'll give my finishing up of the episode of what they end up sharing with us, and also start to move into the area of my afterthoughts for these episodes. So as the last couple of minutes finish off for episode 8, we do get a reunion of all of the X-Wires, with them finally escaping the rooms that they were trapped in. We have Rin meeting up with Miwa, or Koneka Maru, to which, not long after he meets up, we see Shimi escape, and he uses a sort of like a bomb tactic to open up the rest of the rooms to free it up. Now it's time to move into the area of my afterthoughts for these particular episodes. So I must admit, for episode 7, it was really nice to see the characters of sort of like doing some more deeper investigation after what they were told by the Fox Summon by Tenko. And as we start to see him move in, I must remember to bring up that Kuro did actually play a role in helping him get into that particular shopping mall, to which they were eventually captured by Dr. Godoin. But whilst we start to move into sort of like additional areas, it was really nice to see that these characters are working together as a team, even with Rin Okamura being reminded that he is their ace in the hole whenever, well, things get a little bit above and beyond their control, which is actually seen in episode 8. So jumping into the next thing is the rating, and I'll start off with the rating of the main characters, of how I feel that these characters were brought across from the manga to the animation, and also how they executed it. For the main characters, being, of course, Rin and Yukio Okamura, seeing their teamwork in this particular episode was really quite good. of course, with them being separated, like at the end of episode 7, they realized that they had to do some things on their own, to which really opened up and showed us, the audience, especially when it came to episode 8, how each of the characters had to work against the enemy of sorts, or the monster of sorts that Dr. Goodwin had created. So for the main characters, I give an 8.5 out of 10. For the supporting characters, such as Koneko Mamoru, of course we have Izumo Kamiki, sort of like being put in the center of the limelight of this particular story. And we get very little work being done in these particular episodes of what we see with Kamiki. I would have liked to have seen more, but even though we didn't get to see more of her character in this episode, that's all right. It did follow the manga through in regards to showing what the other characters were going through. But I will point out that in the manga, we actually get to see all of the characters make their escape out of their rooms where they were trapped. And yes, we do eventually get the escape with everyone else's help as they move into the next objective of the story, which is moving to save Izumo Kamiki, but also working to get back Renzo Shima. So for the supporting characters and what we actually got to see of the supporting characters, I will give an 8 out of 10. Next is the area of the animation. I must admit, the animation in this has been fantastic. Straight 8.5 from me, and I think that's actually pretty high for me in rating animation. Next is the soundtrack. Soundtrack has been fantastic once again, 8.5 out of 10. And for the overall story between these two, an 8.5 out of 10. So if there's anything that you enjoyed with these particular episodes, please share it in the comments. And I mean it, please share it in the comments. Because no doubt, I know that I'm not the only person who enjoys watching this series and also enjoys reading the manga. So until then, let's keep it colorful and have yourself an awesome day.
本当の僕を知らないやつに何を言われても構わないけど君を傷つける全ては許さない Just keep comes alive Decide 離れてる to say Your side 止まらない距離感と日々 Get try 絶対誰かが描いた君どこを探したってそれはいないもうだいぶ心はもう思い通り動かないとも他の人と違うとこも近頃は扱い慣れてきた頃本当の僕を知らないやつに何を言われても構わないけど間違えた時さえ